Strong love. It's not. It's a love you can't control. It's the most strong kind of a love you'll ever feel. The love for your own child. It's a love you can't control. It's the most strong kind of a love you'll ever feel. The love for your own child.
Hey, it's Matt Pinfield, and joining me now are Dolores, Noel, Fergal, and Mike from the Cranberries. Welcome. It's good to have you on the show.
Thank you.
Good to see you here now. Bury the Hatchet is the name of the new album, and it's your fourth record. And it's been, I guess, about 3 years since you've done a record, and you know there was quite a hiatus. Now, it was pretty common knowledge that you almost disbanded in that period. I mean, you did cancel some dates on the last tour, but you're back together, and you know everything's going great. Did it change? I mean, the time apart from each other really helped the band grow together, and did it change your perspective on things?
Yeah, I don't think it was time apart from each other as individuals. I think it was time out of the music and public eye and everything. Just go home, become a person. That was really important. We had to find our feet and find our families and our lives. Because, I mean, we just did it 7 years, like, constantly, like, album, tour, album, tour, album, tour. And then after that particular tour, the third album was very depressing anyway. I think you could see that there was a lot of unhappiness, you know.
Yeah.
And that's what happens when you work too much and you don't go home. But I mean, sometimes you don't know where to draw the line, you know.
Yeah. Well, it's definitely done well for you with the fourth album. It's great. Yeah. Let's talk a bit about working with Benedict Farmer, who's produced the record. Maybe you can answer this question for us, Mike. Let's talk a bit about you choosing. Were you a fan of the work he'd done with Brian Eno, or?
Yeah, like he done some stuff with Brian Eno and worked with that band James as well.
Yeah.
And we just really liked the sound that he got with them, like the sound of the guitars and drum sounds and stuff. So we just listened to a few other different guys as well, but we just chose him, like, so it worked out really well. Like, so we co-produced with him as well, like, you know.
Yeah, that's true. In fact, how was it co-producing this time? Actually having a hand in co-production.
It was nice. I mean, because we really took our time with this album. We took 4 months to record it, but it was spread out over like maybe 2 years, I suppose. So it was very relaxed, and it was, we kind of had an idea of what we wanted to do when we got in there, and it was just, it was really nice. It's nice and free. It's lovely.
Excellent. Now we've got a lot more coming up with the Cranberries, but first we're going to take a look at a 120 Minutes debut from Tin Star. This band actually got their name from one of their old songs when they were part of a band called XCNN, who put out 2 albums in England. Didn't do all that well, but the song Tin Star was on the record. They were looking for a name, and they found it. Anyway, the album's called Thrill. Welcome back to 120 Minutes. I'm Matt Pinfield, and I'm here with Dolores, Noel, Fergal, and Mike from the Cranberries. Now, Dolores, over a year ago, you had a baby boy. Congratulations, Taylor, which I think is great. And on the album, some of the subject matter deals with being a mother as well. I mean, there's a song, Saving Grace, which I think is a great track. And tell me a bit about that. I mean, other musicians in the past have said that having children has really affected their perspective on things. Would you say that's the same for you?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I think when I personally got to a point in my life whereupon I felt like I had done everything and I didn't know what was the next step, really. So then I had the baby, and it really just opened a door to a new world that I never knew was there, and it was just full of all this new beauty and this new type of love, and it just kind of blew me away, really, because it's an extremely strong love. It's a love you can't control. It's the most strong kind of a love you'll ever feel. The love for your own child.
Yeah, so it's a beautiful thing.
It's pretty amazing, yeah.
Absolutely, definitely know that. Not a question. Now, Noel, I wanted to ask you about working with Olivia DeHaan again on the new video, Bury the Hatchet, which we're going to see. He did an amazing job on Salvation from the last album. You decided to use him again. It's really interesting, the colors in this video. Were you really happy with the way it came out?
Yeah, Olivia had done Salvation with us a few years ago.
Right.
And he's really good at colours and kind of special effects and stuff. It's something that we haven't done a lot of in our videos. So it was nice to work with him again, and we kind of knew we'd come up with this kind of wacky idea to go with the video. So it was fun. It's fun, and it's nice to work with him. I'm sure we will again at some point.
Absolutely. It's incredibly striking, It's got so much going on in it. We'll take a look at it right now. This is the first video from the album Bury the Hatchet. It's Cranberries and Promises on 120 Minutes tonight. Hey, it's Matt Pinfield back with Dolores, Noel, Fergal, and Mike from the Cranberries. Now, Fergal, Storm Thurgeson did the album cover this time around, and he's worked on a lot of the later day Pink Floyd album covers, like Momentary Lapse of Reason, Division Bell, things like that. Why did you decide to work with him?
We just decided to do something different for this album, because rather than putting our faces on the cover, we said we'd do something different. So we met Storm through a friend of ours when we were mixing and recording in London, and kind of met him a lot of times. We'd say over like a month and a half. He kept coming for lunch and dinner and that. And he's really nice, you know, he really kind of likes to get to know you, get right inside your head and stuff.
Spend some time with you. And
and understand different sides of your personality and that. So he's just quite a character, like, you know, he's great.
Excellent.
Really nice
I think a lot of the concepts on the sleeve as well they come from the subject matter of the song.
Right.
Or the subject matter of the feeling at the time. So the cover of the album also, it portrays the way the band felt when we left the public eye 3 years ago.
Right.
It's about paranoia, basically. There's an eye looking at a man and he's paranoid. And on the other side, it represents the band now, learning to stand up and deal with it and just, you know, move ahead and do what you do best, but dealing with, you know, that aspect of it, you know.
Absolutely. I mean, the sofa concept was something you'd worked with for a while, or sitting around.
It was basically just an easy thing, and it was the most obvious thing, and we were just doing the sleeves ourselves at that stage, you know, for the first 3.
Yeah.
But this time, it was just like, we said, you know, more time to relax, and let's get someone to do the artwork, and like, he's a great, he's got a great head.
Yeah.
Really, definitely.
That's excellent. Speaking of more time to relax, you spent more time doing the record, almost 6 months, as you said, 4 to 6 months. And you did it in a few different locations. Was that to get a different feel? Is that why you went from...
Yeah, it was kind of, I guess, because, you know, the guys, Ferg and Mike got married when we were off.
Excellent.
And I mean, for 7 years, they didn't spend, none of the 3 of them spent any time with their wives. So we wanted to kind of have fun and have some family atmosphere and stuff like that. So sometimes we'd record in... we went to France for 2 months, and they came to Toronto for a while because I was pregnant and I was having the baby there, and after he was born they came back to Toronto. Initially we were making demos, and those demos turned out to be on the album. You know, we didn't actually know we were making an album until we'd about 7 or 8 songs, and we said, we're actually making an album here, you know.
Absolutely.
It was all just fun. We were just making demos in our heads, you know.
Yeah, and it was good enough too, and as people can tell, if they picked up the album, or I'm sure they will, check it out. It definitely worked out great. Stick around, because when 120 Minutes returns, I'll be talking more with the Cranberries, so don't go away. Welcome back to 120 Minutes. It's Matt Pinfield here talking with the Cranberries. Now, I thought one of the cool things that you did was, speaking of touring, Dolores, you actually put all the tickets on sale through the internet, through online, so that your fans, I guess, would really get a hold of them and kind of keep it out of the hands of the crazy scalpers. It was, I mean, I hope I didn't just explain all the reasoning behind it. But
I think as well it was because we've been out of the public eye for a long time, so I don't think anybody knows exactly how this album is going to go, or how our music's going to go, because our music's it is what it is. It doesn't blend into fashion, and it never did. But I think we feel that, like, the fans are still there, you know, and stuff. So we just kind of said, let's put it on the internet and see what happens. And bam, it just sold out really quickly. And it just shows how powerful the internet is, you know.
Absolutely.
But like, it wasn't any of our ideas. It was one of the business people's ideas. But it was a good idea.
Yeah, but it worked out great. I think one of the things that people will always wonder is, when you sold millions and millions of records like you've done on the first 3, is that a pressure thing that's really pressurizes?
No, we don't feel pressure, but I mean, obviously there is that aspect of the music industry is a fickle industry. I mean, we all know that. So sometimes it's like business people and artists, and it's like whether business people believe in artists. You know, it varies from crowd to crowd with different albums, different eras, you know. Yeah. So it's always like, you know, you have to wait and see. You have to do gigs, and I think the gigs speak for themselves, and I think the fans speak for themselves with an act like this. It's not like a marketable blah 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 over the top. It's not like a kind of a boy band or a girl band or something like that. It's a different thing, so you have to kind of let it do its own thing, this kind of stuff. You know,
and it's got longevity, that's for sure.
And we never worry about that kind of thing. It's like whatever happens, happens, and we're just having a laugh. That's the most important thing. Like.
Yeah, I think it's great. Well, we're glad to have you back and out and touring again.
Yeah.
Good luck with all the shows as well. And I heard about the one you did for the Nobel Peace Prize winners in Oslo, right? Was that a lot of fun?
Yeah,
it was interesting,
That's excellent. Well, thanks for coming by tonight. And for all of you at home, be sure to pick up the Cranberries' new album, Bury the Hatchet, as well as some of the earlier albums, like everybody else is doing it, so why don't we? No Need to Argue, and of course, To the Faithful Departed. And be sure to catch them on tour. And right now, the video from the band, Fountains of Wayne. Take a look from Utopia to Parkway. This is their second album. It's called Denise. Thanks again for coming by.
Thank you.
It's great to have you.